Everyone. I'm Charlotte McGinnis, and as always, I want to thank you for joining me for my Sunday Soulful Conversation. And sorry about last week. I actually gave the talk I'm going to share today. I thought that it was working, and the streaming wasn't working. So I just talked to myself for a good, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, whatever. But I got a practice round in, that was a good thing. So that being said, I believe it's working today. And actually the technical glitch that we couldn't figure out, it was actually something that, it was kind of a weird discovery, but it all worked. And here we are, and we're live. And thank you for joining me. So just a couple of announcements, things to remind you of. Heart to Heart this week, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. My guest is Susan Swan. She's an author, does a lot of really cool spiritual work, and I think you're going to really enjoy what she has to share. And I want to shout out a happy birthday to one of our listeners here. Sora, happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful, peaceful, joyful day and do exactly that which makes your heart sing. And Wanda, happy birthday to you as well. Down in Tennessee, I hope you're having a great day as well. And just a reminder, the prayer ministry is here for you. So if you have any prayer requests you would like to submit for yourself or others, all you have to do is go to my website, charlottemcginnis.com, click on the prayer ministry and submit your request, and we will get our hearts and prayers out to you just as soon as we can. We're just on a side note, we are in full force going into week 4 with our Sermon on the Mount by Emmett Fox. It's a book study. It's been life-changing. It's so powerful. And his interpretation of the Sermon on the Mount and Jesus' real purpose, what did Jesus actually teach? And I found a lot of opportunities for healing within myself through this. And it's just something that we can't afford to hold a grievance towards anything or anyone. I know that in my intellectual noggin, but sometimes I don't act upon that as well as I should. So I'm living more consciously aware that I'm choosing to bless and love everybody. I don't have to agree with everybody, but I certainly wish everybody well. And so I say this because I see that everything is so heated right now, particularly politically. The vibe of the world, the wars, the conflicts, the politics, the economy, all sorts of things. And I see well-meaning people, I'll include myself in this, that sometimes we don't make the highest choice of how we choose to navigate the waters. And I'm really choosing to see everyone as my brother, as a perfect child of God. I choose to see their sinlessness rather than my perceived sins that I have projected upon them, right? And if we really want to walk the talk, I think this is what we have to do. If there's so much hatred towards one side or another or a situation, the highest and holiest thing we can actually do is unplug from that matrix of hatred and plug into the matrix of love, that we're all here playing our perfect role, right? Some play the role of victim or victimizer, good guy, bad guy, all by the ego's judgment, by the way. But really, it's an opportunity for us to walk from a higher perspective, to live in a greater degree of love. So just something to ponder. I didn't mean to go down that path because it's not what I'm talking about today. Well, it is what I'm talking about today. But today's topic is nature abhors a vacuum. I'm sure you guys have heard this over the years. Aristotle was the one who gets credit for saying this many, many, many years ago. And And I think it bears looking into because I think those of you that tune in on a weekly basis are seeking to live from a higher place, right? And we want to walk this earth in the greatest degree of love and power and peace possible. We want to be loving beings. And so this is just another way to look at how we can fill up the vacuum. Okay, we've let go of something, and what am I going to fill it with, right? I read this, and it says, in a void, no one could say why a thing once set in motion should stop anywhere. For why should it stop here rather than there? So that a thing will either be at rest or must be moved ad infinitum and ad infinitum, unless something more powerful gets in the way. And I think that, sorry, I flubbed that. But really what I got out of this statement is that, it's sort of like a counterbalance, that if I've got a wave of something coming in at, say, in this degree, small wave, if I want to counterbalance it, more powerful, I have to bring in something a little stronger and bigger than that which is the small wave. It's kind of like years ago, we had a teacher come into the Palm Beach Center for Living, and he was speaking about nutrition, and that's a big, topic that I've been interested in for years. And this was 30 years ago, and he was talking about, the shakes to drink and the, how to eat. And of course, there's so many different perspectives on that. But just for the sake of sharing what he shared with us in relation to this, it's kind of like, yeah, if you get your fruits and vegetables and you take your supplements and you, 95% of the time do really well, then you're not going to be so impacted if you go, have that cupcake or donut or whatever it is that, you're putting into your body. Now, ultimately, I think that, well, the more we consciously eat, I think in the highest level, right, we're not impacted by anything. I think that many masters have proven that to us. They can drink battery acid and not be affected at all by it, right? But us mere mortals, until we attain that level of consciousness, we sort of have to go with that which serves our body, our mind, and our spirit at the time, always seeking to elevate our consciousness and wake up to a higher state of awareness and being. And when we're fully awake, self-realized, right, then that is when we are in the world, not of the world. Nothing affects us negatively at all. We've overcome our judgment, our attachments. So that's where we're all moving towards. That's where I choose to be. That's my goal. Some days, like I say, I do really, really good, and some days I don't. But I think my awareness is always there, giving me that little nudge. Keep on moving, right? So when we have, this is a funny example, and I think we can all relate. Finances, it seems like no matter how much money I have, be it a small amount or a large amount, I've had, and I think we could all relate to this, my income has varied, throughout my life, and I've always been taken care of, and always my needs have been met, and I'm grateful for that. And, sometimes I have a big income, and all of a sudden I, got some savings, got this, and boy, that universe always will find a way to use that up, right? In other words, oh, the car broke down, or an unexpected vet bill, or, oh, you need a new roof, something like that. So, the universe abhors a vacuum. Well, the good news is, be grateful that we have the means, whatever it is, to take care of our needs. So, I think it's life, our experience here on this planet, in this body at this time, is about self-reflection, about really watching ourselves and seeing what we're doing, sort of observing ourselves without judgment, just sort of rising above the battleground and just saying, okay, that's interesting. Boy, I could have filled that vacuum. I'm letting go of this, but what am I filling it up with? Is it something that's going to elevate me and my ability to love and be kind and conscious? Or is it something that's going to keep me dense and low? Well, through this self-reflection, we begin to recognize where we're not in the flow, right? I believe that when we're in our awakened state, our elevated state of awareness, of consciousness, life just flows. You see the synchronicity and flow in everything. You have an understanding of everything, so you're not upset and pained in any way by the situation. You just sort of go with the flow. It's all going to be good. It is good. And you're not so emotionally invested up and down on all of these things. So I think a step in this is, if we want to be in the flow, as I mentioned earlier, sort of on my little side tangent in the beginning, where are we still holding grievances? Where am I judging? Where am I still needing to make someone wrong? Do I prefer to be right or happy? That's a statement from A Course in Miracles, and a powerful one. And I think we can align with certain thought systems and ideas and ideals. We can, be more attuned to, say, allopathic or holistic medicine. Everything's a placebo, right? But if I choose one over the other, that doesn't mean that those who don't think the way I do about what I eat, what I supplement myself with, be it medical, allopathic, or holistic, right? I don't hate people that don't think the way I do. Same holds true politically, right? You may align with one side or another, and that's fine. This is where I feel good. So we want to focus on that which feels good, build on that. But if we're not, focusing on the good and building on it and spending time hating the other side, okay? And the energy that we're trying to build for the positive, we're just squashing it with all the grievances and the hatred and the judgments. And I speak of this often because I really can recognize how often we do get caught up in that. So I, also when through this self-evaluation, I think we realize, as I said, we always want to fill that vacuum with something higher and better, and that feels better. As Abraham says, a better feeling thought. And when it's a better feeling thought, I think when we feel good about ourselves, we're not so judgmental on the world. So I recognized, for example, I had a vacuum. I've sort of unplugged from certain situations, organizations, relationships, all in love, blessing, wishing the best for everybody, truly. And but I was like, this is not where I am vibrationally. It's just not a vibrational match. Not bad, not good, just is what it is. And when I really allowed myself to let go, I've been blessed with friends of my youth coming back into my life, people I haven't seen in 30 years, very good friends. And it's been, not only have we reconnected, but they have, two different couples have moved to this area, or moving to this area. Wow, would have never thought that. But I do believe that I sort of made that space for this to happen. But I had to let go of relationships that weren't really serving my greater good. So something else to ponder. I love this. I got introduced to this, Deepak Chopra's book, Perfect Health. Great book, by the way. And that book could be 40 years old, 35 years anyway. And I love this book. it's a very powerful book. It's a go-to. And there's a section in this book, and this is where I was first introduced to this idea that the body, this meat suit that we navigate through our day-to-day life in, actually is at the full effect, 100% effect of our consciousness, right? And so what are we feeding it? Body, mind, and spirit. What am I feeding my field? What am I feeding my body? What emotions are lifting me up? What foods am I putting into my body? What emotions, what energy, vibration, right? Because interestingly enough, and this is a scientific fact, not just someone's idea, but the body, the skin, the organs, every inch of our body, every cell of our body completely regenerates and renews itself every 7 years. Now, the 7 years I've read, it regenerates and restores itself every 2 years. I've read it 7 years, whatever. But the point being is every moment we are either putting into the field of our body, right? Thoughts, feelings, emotions that uplift us, or we're playing the old pattern of consciousness, of judgment. We're sort of just going on autopilot. That subconscious is just running the show. And so we have to consciously choose to shift our consciousness, our thinking. Everything really starts in thought, right? In the mind. Train our mind to go to a more elevated state of being. And when we do this, we're allowing the body to be lifted up with the renewing of our mind. Everything stems in the mind. Power as a man thinketh, right? So as our emotions and our thoughts become more elevated, so does our physical experience. And I think that requires a lot of faith. It's blind faith, but actually it is proven scientifically. So if you believe in that and have faith in that, that will be your experience. But if you say, oh, that's hogwash, that's not true, it's up to you. So my belief is if I change my patterns of behavior and thoughts and everything else, my results will be different. So I've used the example of when that vacuum comes, when we let go of something, be mindful of what we're replacing that with, counterbalance with something more positive, right? And something else, when we let go of a situation that's not for our highest good, maybe it obviously served its purpose and time to move on, right? And so when we recognize that this is not the greatest good for me to move into a higher state of being, it doesn't hurt. You don't have to curse. You just bless and love, and you're grateful for the experience, and you move on. So when we let this go, we become more peaceful, we really haven't lost anything, right? In the absence of anything, if we're more peaceful, we never lost anything. And there is a line in the Course of Miracles that says, loss is not loss when properly perceived. And as you all know, I've been a longtime Course of Miracles student. I find it to be really the expression of Jesus' true message when he came here. And it does require, I think that people have described it, like Gary Renard, he said it's spirituality for grown-ups, because it requires 100% responsibility for everything. I'm not a victim of anything. I am responsible for the world I see. I'm here to forgive. I'm here to heal. And if everything that is not healed is going to continue to keep showing its face, those patterns, right, continue to to be until we get what we need to learn from it. And so, it requires self-reflection, self-responsibility, and surrender to a higher consciousness, to the Holy Spirit, to the mind of God, the mind of love. And when we do this, we become heaven. We wake up to heaven, right? But this is something, some people, there are religions that believe this, and I'm not saying it's wrong by any means, but this resonates to me. It says heaven is not a place or a condition. It's merely an awareness of perfect oneness and the knowledge that there's nothing else, nothing outside of this oneness and nothing else within. So heaven and hell are not destinations, but rather states of awareness. Now, I would say in that state of awareness, if I'm in that non-duality mind and I've got my God eyes on and I'm choosing love and I'm filling that all those things, voids within me with good juju, right? Then I'm going to see heaven everywhere. That's regardless of what's going on. I can see beyond the movie. I can see that behind the scenes of the play that we're all playing, it's perfectly orchestrated, and we're playing the roles exactly as they need to be played. So I love this. This is kind of a comforting quote because it can seem overwhelming. And sometimes, this truth, if we don't abide by it and we're angry or sad or sick, we feel guilty about that. And, this is not about reinforcing guilt. It's about the recognition of where our true power lies and to recognize patterns. So, if you're sad, when you are sad, know this need not be. Depression comes from a sense of being deprived of something you want and do not have. Remember, you are deprived of nothing except by your own decisions, and then decide otherwise. So again, if you're depressed, it need not be. We change your mind. When we change our mind, we change our molecular structure. Joe Dispenza, awesome, Dr. Joe, been a follower of his for 30 years when he was a young guy, and he's remarkable. And actually, good friend Seal, I know you love Joe very much. And we were just talking about him the other day. And he goes on to say, every time we have a thought, we make a chemical. If we have good thoughts, we make chemicals that make us feel good. And if we have negative thoughts, we make chemicals that make us feel exactly the way we're thinking. Thoughts are things. Thoughts have chemicals. So they do affect not only my body, but the collective quantum field, right? Every thought has a vibration with it. So we need to not only feed ourselves happy thoughts, but we need to bless the entire world. We say we're peacekeepers. We're here to bless and love the world. Well, peace starts within. The more healed, those who see themselves as healed, or as whole, excuse me, those who see themselves as whole make no demands. So how do we know where we are on this evolutionary path that we all are traveling on? Well, where am I still tripped up? Where am I still feeling like a victim? Where am I judging? Not to reinforce guilt. I recognize this in myself. It's like, yeah, that could be shifted a little bit. And then ultimately we see the world forgiven and healed. And because we've seen beyond, we've lifted the veil of the dream and really connected to the totality of oneness. And just another reminder, in the preface of the Course of Miracles, the body appears to be largely self-motivated and independent, yet actually it yet it actually responds only to the intentions of the mind. If the mind wants to use it for attack in any form, it comes prey to sickness, age, and decay. Well, that's not meant to be an attack thought by any means, but boy, that'll hit you between the eyes, right? So, the body's just responding to the intentions of the mind. You want to change your experience, change your thoughts. And peace is always the goal. As I said earlier, we've really gotten into this Sermon on the Mount. And this is Emmett Fox, his interpretation of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus' true teachings, power of the mind. And basically, it's all mind. Remember that. It's everything is in the mind, in our choices. We have free will in this dream, on this planet, in this body, every moment to plug into the mind of infinite possibilities of union, peace, oneness, love, healing. Or we can, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm good, you're bad, whatever it is, right? So Paramahansa Yogananda, got to bring him into the mix, love him. How easy it is to pack the day with foolishness. How difficult to fill it with worthwhile activities and thoughts. How difficult it is, right? Yet God is not so much interested in what we're doing as in where our mind is. Everyone has a different difficulty, but God doesn't listen to any excuses. So, God is about truth. He doesn't join us in our littleness. He wants the devotee's mind to be engrossed in him in spite of any troublesome circumstances. So that to me is right on line, what we're talking about. How easy it is to fill the mind with foolishness, thoughts that divide, keep us sick, keep us angry. So we have to be vigilant for God and God's kingdom only. And eventually, if we're engrossed in God, all is well, right? And that's a good thing. I'm going to close with this. Gary Renard, great guy, great teacher, really brings the Course in Miracles into, applicable and meaningful practices. And it's like, oh yeah, you can understand it pretty easily with Gary. He's a cool guy. And he says, if you undo the ego, you'll end up enjoying your life more, not less. That's because there's less unconscious guilt in your mind. And if you feel less guilty, you enjoy everything more. And I do mean everything. So always remember, it's not against the rules to have a good time. Amen. We're not here to struggle. We're here to be in joy. I believe that one of the attributes of being in Christ consciousness in our elevated state of being is joy. It's okay to have a good time. We don't have to suffer and struggle. And we need to undo the ego acronym, edging God out, that part of us that runs by programs and duality and separation and fear and suffering and poverty, blah, 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 and keeps us pitted against ourselves and each other, right? And if we undo this, we lift that unconscious guilt and we enjoy life more. So we're here to enjoy life, fill nature, back to the topic today, nature abhors a vacuum. So let go of that which is keeping you weighed down and fill it up with the good stuff. Fill it up with God, fill it up with love, kindness. You'll be happy you did. We're all on this journey together. And you'll find that the more you work on yourself and the more you do your own self-work, it don't matter so much what everyone else is doing, right? So anyway, glad I got to give this message today. It was, as I said, last week I got a trial run, so that was good. But I'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday. And in the meantime, prayers, go to my website. Everything's on my website. And Heart to Heart, Susan Swan this week, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Okay, everybody, peace and love. Namaste. Take care.